episode 59 of the Relatable Runners podcast. Today's podcast is influence and identity. We're going to be talking about how we influence others by our actions, even when we don't realize it.
Very good. And this kind of stemmed from just this past week or two. We've had a few people approach us and ask about our podcast, or come up to us and introduce themselves because they knew we had a podcast, and friends of friends knew that we had a podcast. So it was just weird, to think, oh, we didn't even realize we were, doing anything. Sometimes you forget all that you are doing, and it's just kind of cool to realize that we can be influencing and impacting others even when we don't realize it.
So I think this episode will serve as a good reminder to you, and no matter what season you're in, if you have 1 million Instagram followers, or you don't even have an Instagram account and you have a kid or no kids, whatever, like, you are always influencing someone.
Yes.
So this is going to be a good episode for you to evaluate how you're influencing them. Are you making people better? Or are you taking them a step back? Because I believe there's no neutral. Like, you're either moving forward or you're going back, and how you relate to other people is the exact same way.
Yes, I agree. Very nicely said. And we've said this a lot before, Nikki, in work. We like to leave things better than we found them. And it's easy to forget and just kind of go through your day-to-day and, not really focus on leaving someone happier than you found them, or leaving them more inspired than you found them. So this is a good reminder, this week, just having several people come up to us was like, oh, for me, it was a reminder that even though it's been a crazy, couple months, and we had all felt that we weren't really doing much this particular week, we still had people say that we were impacting them in a positive way and approach us because of the influence we were making, and we didn't even realize it. So that was super cool.
It's always fun to hear, especially people that you wouldn't expect to know that we have a podcast, or for them to realize that we do and ask about it and want to know more about it. I know you had somebody kind of out of the blue, right, this week ask about it?
Yes. So last night, actually, I was taking Landon to his jiu-jitsu practice, and we've recently, moved and switched to a new jiu-jitsu gym. So we're meeting a lot of new people each time because we're, in a lot of new areas and going to a lot of new places that we haven't been previously.
And contrary to what you say, you're a social person. Whitney's always like, oh, I don't like to talk to people. This woman talks to everybody.
I know you say that, but I feel like it's selective. Like, if it's about running or exercise, or like in a gym situation, I feel very comfortable. I want to talk to people about that. I could talk to them for hours. If it's like at someone's house and it's small talk, at a party with several people, that makes me want to break out in hives. So I think it's...
So don't approach her at a party.
Do not come at me. I don't want to know how you're doing. Just kidding. Kinda. But in certain situations, I am very comfortable, and I want to have relationships. I want to go into the gym and people know who I am, and me have friends there, and just feel comfortable with everyone there. So we've been friendly with his with the staff there, and BY takes jiu-jitsu there as well. So he's talked a lot to the coach. And yesterday I got there to drop Landon off, and the kids are warming up, and he pulled away from practice, and when he saw me come in, I was like, hey, did you do some kind of running event or something this weekend? And I was like, yeah, we did a 5K that the chamber put on, which we will talk about in our next episode. And he was like, that's awesome. My wife saw you on their Instagram or something. And are you the head of some running thing? I was like, yeah, we have a podcast. And he was just blown away, wow, that's amazing. He said, so it's you and just you, or what? And I said, no, it's me and a couple friends. He was asking, all the details, how long we've been doing it. I said, actually, a little over a year. And he was like, that is awesome. I know everyone seems like they have a podcast now, but we're starting one. And I would love to get your feedback and just kind of how you guys do it, and any tips and pointers you have. And do you mind if I share that you have a podcast on our website? And what's it called? You guys are on iTunes? And he was just like, that's amazing. And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, yeah, cool.
I feel like sometimes we forget, and we're just like, yeah, this is something we just come and hide in the closet, or come to the apartment media room and film, or do it once a week.
But to others.
But no, it is pretty cool.
It is
cool. And, even if we only inspire a couple of people or influence a couple of people to want to make their life a little better, hey, it's worth it.
And
Absolutely.
I think when he asked how long we've been doing it, and I said over a year, I saw a light bulb go off, oh, well, if she can do it and she's been doing it for a year, I can do it. It seemed like it just like boosted his confidence all of a sudden. So it's really cool.
Now, we aren't trying to just circle all this back and just talk about ourselves in it, even though we could, but we're not going to. But this was just a very good reminder to us, to Whitney specifically, and she brought it up to us, that everything we do is being watched. And even if you think you're not being watched, like, you are to somebody. Somebody is always looking, someone's always taking notes. And that can be like in a creepy way, but I mean it in a good way, you know?
But yes, like friends, family, co-workers,
Your kids.
the checkout lady at the grocery store. If you're especially kind every time you go in there, like, you can influence her day and therefore influence everybody else who's shopping in the store that day.
Right.
So think about how that could trickle out. Like, it's such a small, silly little thing, but
Can make a big difference.
like we said before on the last podcast, when you see something that you want to compliment or see
Compliment
something
it.
that you like, say it.
Right.
If you think of something positive about someone, say it.
Yes.
A little kindness can definitely go a long way.
Yes.
And this can be said too with just fitness in general and the way that you live your life, even if you're not in front of the public eye or like have people directly watching you. You know, someone could in the background be thinking, oh, well, she can do this. I can do it. It could be motivation for someone who thinks that they aren't capable and they see all that you're accomplishing.
Well, there is a lady where we run, and I know her from church, but she doesn't really know me. But her name's Terry, and she runs up and down busy roads and she's tiny, with a stroller, a double wide stroller, or a double stroller.
Double wide.
A double wide.
Semi-permanent foundation.
With her 2 kids in it, like, and she's fast and she's out there getting those miles in.
And she's
like,
out there all the
and
time.
I feel like we watched her go from having small children in a stroller to having like big old kids
in that stroller.
In the stroller.
But now I see her sometimes by herself.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
I've
like,
seen her with
she's
like
finally graduated.
with
maybe.
one, and I'm like, how is that like not like I'd turn circles if I just had one in, you know?
Maybe
But
she-
like just seeing her out there is inspirational to me, and she has no idea that she's.
We've said hey to her. She probably
Yeah, she definitely knows us,
for
but
sure.
like think of all the people who
She's running past people.
Running
they
past.
might be like doubting themselves that day on the way to work. Like, man, I wish I could exercise. I wish.
And
I
they're like, look at this lady out
girl-
pushing her 2 kids in
Right.
the morning. I could make it happen if I needed to.
like no excuses, absolutely.
right.
So I think that is a even when you don't realize you're being watched, you are, and you know, are you? I like to always ask myself, and this started in church. You know, my pastor said once, like, you're either moving toward God or you're moving away from God. Like, there's no stagnant. And if you think you're stagnant, then you're moving away.
Right.
And so I think that kind of goes in all aspects of our
You're not making
lives.
progress.
Right. There's no neutral.
You're not just
if you're neutral, you're actually
You're
going
sliding.
backwards.
Yeah.
And I remember once it was when, I don't remember. I was over the lifeguards at where I worked
You
at.
were the head guard.
The head guard. And
At
someone,
first, then you were the aquatics
Right.
coordinator.
I think that I was married at this point, and someone was dating someone, and they're like, well, does he, I don't know, there's issues or something. I think they're married now and have multiple kids. In fact, yes, they are. But I said, well, does he make you a better person? She was like, and Amber and I have talked about this too recently, and she was like, no, I don't think he does. Amber didn't say this, my lifeguard said it. She's like, no, I don't think so. Then I'm like, then why, like, you don't need that then. Like, if you're the only one bringing something to the table, it's
Ooh.
probably not a good table to be sitting at. So I think it's also important that we realize that
Preach,
not
Sister
only
Nikki.
do we, you know, want to be lifted up by others, but we also need to lift others up. And that goes back to what I always say of you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around.
Yes, that is very true. And you don't need to be the only one positively influencing others.
Right.
So you have to keep that in mind as well. If, you know, take it kind of an inventory of who you surround yourself with or who your strongest relationships are. If that other person is not positively affecting you or encouraging you to get out of your comfort zone or do something that you know, normally wouldn't do, then it's kind of time to reevaluate that as well. So
They say even, so if you have your 5 people and you look at, I don't know exactly how, the 5 points, but it's like your fitness, your income, your health, maybe like your spiritual,
religion,
and there's something else. But like if you took rank, okay, let's just, because numbers, if we took the 5 people I hang out with the most and what my bottom person makes a year and what my top person makes a year, you are probably in the middle. of it. In your health, the person you hang out with the most who has the least healthy habits versus the person who has the most.
Very good.
You're probably
Don't let it go. Don't let it go.
in the middle.
Wait.
Are similar.
Yeah.
But then, I've thought before too, well, I don't want to select my friends based off of how much money they make or how fit they are or how not fit they are. Like, I want friendships to be organic. And then you have to also look at it as, okay, well, Whitney has a lot more to offer than just fitness. So, is there an area, this is where it's a give and take. Whitney can inspire me to become a more fit person, where I might inspire Whitney to take more chances and more risk.
Yeah.
So it's, she and probably makes me a little bit more stable. So, I think it's good to have that chances are.
Probably slightly.
So it's good to have that exchange.
It's a good balance. It's
right.
not just one person that,
right.
We all have different things to offer.
Correct.
And like you said, organically choosing friends, you're going to kind of be drawn to people that have similar interests and
right.
Goals and hobbies. If you're a goal-oriented person like we were drawn to each other because we motivate each other.
Right.
And we all have a similar mindset where we want to constantly improve. We want to improve each other and help motivate each other. So you're going to kind of be drawn to those type of people.
Even if it is just motivating you to, get ready every day. You never know, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's such a random thing.
Yep.
But you feel better
right.
when you get up and just get ready for your day. So no matter where you go, you're ready for your day. No matter
right.
what happens, you're not going to be like, oh man, I didn't get ready. I have to go to this meeting now.
Right.
Whatever it is.
The backstory to that is I never get ready and I just wake up and life happens.
I wouldn't say never.
Never.
Yeah,
it's not I don't enjoy it. Like, I would rather just.
It's work. It's like a task.
It's a task for me.
Me as well.
And Amber makes me want to better myself in that area. So
because I think I'm just used to just doing it.
Right.
And then, I don't want to be, something happen and have to go somewhere and be like, oh my gosh.
This reminds me of a meme I've seen that's like, my style can be best described as, I didn't expect to have to get out of the car. Imagine if your car broke down.
School drop off or something.
And you're on the interstate and then suddenly you're in your pajamas, you have a bra on, that could be
Do
a hot
y'all
mess.
remember that show, The Nanny, with Fran Drescher?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Once the house caught on fire and so they all woke up at midnight or whatever and the firemen are there and she had on a full face of makeup, her hair was done and everyone was like, why in the world are you dressed up? She says, I have been waiting for this my whole life.
She goes to bed ready.
Right.
And we used to tease Amber we would run at 5 a.m. in the summer and none of us have a stitch of makeup on. She has perfectly curled eyelashes, but then we later found out and she always said, this is from yesterday or I didn't wash my face last night or something. Not to say that you don't wash your face, but
I don't all the time.
didn't wash my mascara off or whatever.
I don't ever wash.
And we thought, I thought for a long time that she was just making that up.
Yeah, she was just waking up early and getting ready.
Had a slumber party and I saw that she sleeps like a mummy on her back so that her eyelashes don't get crushed and she wakes up literally with the perfect face because she's not drooling and rolling around her pillow like we are.
Well, it's not like I trained myself to lay on my back just for that reason. It just so happens I'm most comfortable as a mummy.
She goes to sleep. If you can just picture a mummy crossing her hands and just laying down, that's how Amber sleeps. So she does
have that visual now.
She does have that to her advantage. She wakes up, she's already got her makeup on, so maybe it's not as hard for her to get ready. But anyway, she inspires us to
to better
look and feel our
ourselves.
best.
So I think when you are organically, evaluating your friendships, see what they offer you and what you offer them. And sometimes I think this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think there is a season in life where you need to prune off certain people.
I agree with that.
I am not great at plants, but I love mine dearly. When we were moving, Whitney was like, just the essentials, and I went and grabbed my plants, and she could have killed me.
And they're all in concrete planters, and they're all heavy. She's like, okay, we can hold one of these at a time as we're making trips into the apartment. Only the essentials. We're moving into an apartment. All right, plants,
artwork,
lawn decor. There's no yard. Here, let me get my yard gnomes broken. Oh my gosh.
So the point of that is, there is a season though, when they start to get too big or too overgrown, you have to cut them back. And again, this is biblical. There is a season for pruning, and once you cut back, if you look at your friendships and the relationships in your lives, and you cut back the ones that aren't fueling you, you'll actually see what's left will flourish. When you prune a plant, it thrives and it goes crazy and it looks healthier and better and it bursts and grow and it just has like a whole new breath of fresh air, new life is coming into it.
It's not a bunch of stuff weighing it down.
Like literally, if you think about a plant, it's literally weighing it down, and it's yellow and it's rotted and it'll start to decay and die at the ends. But once you prune it, you cut it back. When you examine your friendships and you prune them or you cut them back or you cut people out of your life who might not have a place to be there, are currently serving you, and it's not to say like they didn't at one point have a purpose in your life, because we all, like we said, have different seasons, and it's a painful part. Like I'm sure a plant doesn't enjoy getting literally hacked into pieces. I'm sure that is a painful process, and it is a painful process to go through your friendships and to see someone out for the first time after you've cut ties with them, or to not be on call for that person. Like it can be a painful thing, but it's a necessary thing for us to grow our best
and to flourish when we have things that are not weighing us down. So, and I think that kind of happens naturally if you are very in tune with, kind of what's best for you. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you have to say no to people. Sometimes it's, that's no longer serving me, or that's not, good for my XYZ, whatever. And so it just kind of will naturally happen. And so it's better to surround yourself with people who are lifting you up and even if that's a smaller quantity of relationships, it's a better quality.
Yes.
If you take that time to evaluate, because it is very important. Just because you've known someone or you've been around someone for X number of years or however long doesn't always mean that it's the best, to continue. So, people influence you as well, and you want to always make sure that you are.
That we're talking about this and talking about those people who drag you down. These kids, man,
we got parasites.
We got to cut them out.
Have to cut them off.
No,
just
really,
kidding, I love them.
Yeah,
but if you think about it, though, really, interesting.
Very interesting. But we are influenced by those who we surround ourselves by, and
I have another point.
It's very true. Go ahead.
It's pretty good, and it's about kids, saying that reminded me of them. So sometimes I was reading a book last night. I was talking about like being a vessel, and I saw the note that we had about
very
it.
Good.
And sometimes I feel like, and I'm sure any mom, any person who has a relationship with anyone can relate to this. Like you're like, what is my purpose? What am I
What am I bringing to the table?
What am I bringing to the table? And sometimes I feel like this is turning into like a Christian.
This is a Bible lesson,
but like sometimes I feel like God is using you as a vessel. Like it's not about you. Like Whitney, it might not even be about you, but God is using you because He has these huge plans for Landon, and Landon couldn't get to where he needs to go unless he had
me.
Mom, that made me get a little tickle in my throat. So, anyways, like be a vessel. Be a vessel for good. Yes. These braces getting me.
That is very true, though, because you might think that, like, you're not doing enough or whatever you have to offer is not good enough, but guess that got us a little teary, so we'll move on from speaking about our children.
Yeah, I called them parasites, and y'all are over here crying.
And I looked at Amber, and I was like, wait, why are we crying? Okay, stop.
I know, I got teary-eyed because y'all were crying. And just,
Nikki doesn't
just
get teary-eyed, and when we're looking in each other's eyes talking. Anyway,
all right, let's circle this back to running on.
Yeah.
Okay?
You can be a vessel in your fitness.
Yes.
Maybe you're inspiring somebody else, and maybe it's not about you. It is what you can bring.
Maybe we will inspire like the next Olympic athlete or something.
You never know.
Because we are maybe a little past our prime for the Olympics only.
Yes.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, I am being significantly older. I am past my prime for the Olympics, but I could be a vessel. Maybe my nieces or nephews will be like, I'm going to run, and then they'll be a track star and go to college for free.
I can see that for sure.
You never know.
That's very true.
Anyway.
It's what we have to provide. It might not be about us, but just keep doing what you're doing if you think you're making a positive impact, whether it's on your kids or your friends or those that know you. You can be a vessel to them in a positive way.
Right. And going back to like your identity and talking about family and being a vessel and stuff, like to my family, I am a runner.
Yes.
Even though it's hard for me still to identify myself as that, they're like, every time I'm in a big family group situation, it's how many miles did you run, Annie?
Yes.
Or how many, or my sister or my brother-in-law, somebody's asking me like, do you have any big races coming up? How many miles you running this weekend? And it reminds me like, oh yeah, I am a runner.
Mm-hmm.
And that is part of who I am now, even though it doesn't always naturally come to me as that. But
And I think it's very important to identify as a runner, even if you don't feel like it. If running's the goal, or a healthy person, or a fit mom, that you call it. Like, this is like, claim it, call it, claim it. Here's 1,000 quotes for you. You steer where you stare. Whatever you focus on expands. There's a ton of quotes that kind of say the exact same thing. So I think it is very important to claim that title.
Yes.
I agree with that. And one of my quote of the day show podcasts that I listen to every day, one from earlier this week was, you are what you say you are. And so even if it's something you want, visualize yourself as your future self. You don't visualize your future self as, broke and out of shape and unhappy. You visualize, anytime you picture yourself, you're always going to picture yourself in the best light. Oh, I'm so fit. I am so blessed and fulfilled. And you have to work towards that in order to make that come true. Even if you're in a situation where maybe you're not in your peak in one of those areas, if you claim it and you work towards that, claim that as your identity.
I heard a funny version of something like that. I don't even know where I heard it from, but it's like, you always you're hopeful for the future. Like, when you're buying a pair of jeans, you might buy them a little bit tight. Oh, I'm going to lose weight. Like, no one ever buys a pair of pants
a little bit too big.
I'm going to get these
I'm
big.
going to go ahead and size up so I got plenty of room to grow into them.
That'd be fun though.
Like, you always picture yourself
better,
improving.
So you have to work towards that if you want that to be part of your identity.
Right. It doesn't just happen naturally.
Right.
Or just buy the pants bigger and plan for what's coming,
The only exception to that might be your turkey pants, for Thanksgiving.
Right.
I might buy a size
Or
up for
maternity
those.
pants.
Yeah, you are.
But
Right.
we're past that. So.
But that's still a hopeful growing.
It is a hopeful growing.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
So you are always being, and I guess with your turkey pants, you're hopeful that the food's going to be good. So.
Yep.
That's right.
There
Very,
you go.
very true.
Look on the bright side. But your identity, that shapes who you are, and running for us has helped us in our identity, because our families, or anytime we go somewhere, I know specifically if I'm with my sister's friends that I don't see all the time, anytime I see them, immediately they're like, oh, just like Amber said, how many miles did you run? Oh, and they're just, and then even if I'm having a day where I don't feel, that I'm in my prime or peak, to them,
right.
I'm like, oh yeah.
So we hope
That is my identity.
That is me. That is it. So we hope that this episode finds you well and speaking well of yourself and thinking positively and taking inventory of your life and how you are being influenced and how you are also influencing others.
Very good.
Long run recap. This week's long run was 10 miles with our friend Erin. It was just Whitney and I. Nikki, unfortunately, was taking a little break.
Well, this is because I ran a half marathon 8 weeks and 4 days after intense surgery.
Which
Very
may be a
extreme
little
half
too
marathon.
soon.
Yes.
The doctor did say I was released to do whatever.
I don't think you realized what whatever was.
Right.
And for some reason in my head, the race was 2 weeks prior. I guess I just lost track of time that week or whatever, and so I thought, oh yeah, we're good to do this.
Right. And Whitney came all the way to us, which she is a little further now to sometimes, we'll meet in the middle.
Just
but
needed it. It was like
she came all the way to us this time, so we're like, we're going to go ahead and do 10 because she's coming here, and we'll just knock it out because 8 doesn't seem like enough for that drive. And the next week we were doing our 5K, so we knew we wouldn't be doing a long run really that week. So anyway, it was beautiful. We ran down to the Greenway and went on the Greenway a little bit. Turns out the Greenway is further away now than it used to be.
We were thinking, because normally when we would go to the Greenway, we would meet at my old house, and it's exactly a mile to the entrance. And so we're like, yeah, let's just run down there, and then we can get 8 miles on the Greenway and 1 mile back. Turns out it's 2 miles there because we started at Amber's house, which we forgot about. So we had that stretch a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But
it was good.
Still really nice, yeah.
It was warm. We had some water, but it turns out it was much warmer and much more humid than we expected, so we were dying of thirst and very grateful that they turned the water fountains back on at the
Yes.
Greenway.
Because we all
were very, very thirsty.
It was a tricky day because it was like cloudy, if I remember correctly, but it was very humid.
Very humid.
So once we started going, we were like, oh my gosh, we are parched.
Yes.
And we also realized...
I had to drop my jacket. I left my jacket. I had a white jacket, and I left it on the side of the road somewhere.
At the entrance, I think, maybe.
Came back and got it.
And we all felt, Aaron as well, very heavy-legged.
Yes. Because we had done the half marathon before, and it was easy. Like, we took it easy. It wasn't easy. We took it easy, but it was very hilly.
And then we still did a full week of workouts as if nothing had happened. And I literally thought, oh, well, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. No. It was just the previous weekend. So our legs were a little heavy, and it was a little challenging, but we also weren't trying to set any records or anything. We still, got it done and felt really good. Felt very accomplished.
Yes. It was fun. We talked a lot about an upcoming, but a girls' trip that we're planning with the three of us and Aaron, and so that was fun, kind of going through
the
that,
details.
getting excited about it.
Gave us something to get excited about and think about.
This will be Erin's first overnight trip with me, and she is
the group texts leading up to this are hilarious. Erin, although I think she is thankful for our friendship, she's a little more reserved perhaps than we are. Sometimes we can be I think we're just all very comfortable with each other. Nikki especially doesn't really filter a lot of things.
Well, I don't know if filter's the word, but if I can make it awkward,
you choose that route.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's a strong suit.
Yeah. And so we were talking about which Airbnb are we going to book, and we need to make sure we have enough beds for everyone. Nikki's like, well, we can share. I'll sleep with Erin. Erin's like,
I'll bring my
sleeping bag. Hopefully she'll still end up coming with us.
I hope so. I hope she doesn't back out at the last minute.
So we'll try to take it easy on the creepiness until the trip, because it's in October. But
we had to figure out the bathroom situation. all the
multiple
things.
Bathrooms, lots of space. But it's going to be fun because it is in Savannah, Georgia, and Amber found this literally a year ago, I think.
Yes.
And we were talking about doing it, and so once she found it, we're like, all right, we're committing and we're doing it. And now we have our little weekend booked.
Yes, we're like, if this happens in person next year, we are doing it.
And it's in Savannah, Georgia. It's the Publix Women's Half Marathon.
Yes, October 9th, I believe.
So if anybody wants to join us.
Yes, and it's all through downtown, through the beautiful squares, and it's going to be
It's kind of a leap of faith, though, because Amber booked the room. We think she did. I don't know. We all just
we spent her
large amounts of money.
So hopefully she actually booked us a spot.
I'm going somewhere. I don't know about y'all.
She's like, I booked me a real nice trip in October. Thank y'all for contributing. But we'll see. Hopefully we have a place to stay. We are registered for the race at least. So
right. And good. So if you guys have a free weekend in October, come join us in Savannah.
It's going to be a good one. And our long run this weekend was enjoyable as well.
Yes.